just recently released some videos on dating in Asia, and I released 4 videos and an intro. And this is a summary and an expansion of some of the points that I mentioned there. Those were released on shorts, as shorts on YouTube. So this is a recap of some of the main points. So the reason why I do this series, some of my friends have asked for it, other people have requested it because they are unhappy with the way things go in the States primarily. That's where most of my contacts are. They're unhappy with the way things are in the States, and being able to see a different reality is encouraging and motivating, and by the very fact just shows that something different is possible. So that's one of the reasons why I am doing these videos, even though it sort of compromises a little bit of my privacy. But the main difference that I had noticed in the male-female interaction here on this side of the world as compared to what it was for me in New York is that there's no tension, there's not an adversarial relationship, there's not a combative relationship. There's actually an acceptance and a comfort with the fact that men find women attractive and women find men attractive, and that there's no stigma attached to you approaching someone and expressing that interest. In fact, as a foreigner, you will probably get a much greater reception because, from a local person's point of view, whether it's in the Philippines or China or Vietnam, having a foreign man express an interest in them seems to be something that's a big boost to the ego. So the main difference is that you're not penalized for smiling, complimenting, showing an interest, because that's the normal way of mankind. I'll be sharing many different experiences in the shorts, but I wanted to just explain how I meet and approach women, particularly in China. And essentially what I do is I'll see someone I like and I might smile, and I'll say Ni Han Piao Liang, which is, and forgive me my pronunciation if I'm putting the emphasis on the wrong syllable, as they say, but I'll say Ni Han Piao Liang, which is you're very pretty, and I'll hand her my number. Last time I was in China, I was using QQ, so I'll hand her my QQ number, and then by the end of the day, I'll get a text, or a call, and we'll end up going out, that sort of thing. So it's pretty straightforward, and I'm not doing that to impress you. I'm doing that, as a friend of mine is fond of saying, not doing that to impress you, doing that to impress upon you how different things can be in different societies. Personally, I have certain preferences, and I am not afraid to admit those or to state those, because it is what it is, and everyone has a particular preference. And mine, there's a reason my channel and blog is called Jamaican in China. I have my preferences, and so therefore that's where you'll find me most often. But right now, since post-COVID, I'll be doing some other countries as well. But we'll talk more about that in future videos, because one of the things that I think is important for people, for men to become clear on, is what they like. A lot of people I've found actually go after a certain type because that's what they feel, or that's what society has told them is the upper tier. I have no illusions about that. I know what turns me on, so I go after the type that I like, the short height that I like, the dark hair that I like, the skin tone that I like, and I'm not modifying my preferences for anyone else's benefit. And just as a recap of the first 5 videos, one thing I want to make clear though is that when I share my experiences, these are just my experiences. And what I have learned also in this side of the world is that you should never take someone's opinion as a friend of mine is fond of saying, if you accept someone's opinion, you accept their lifestyle. So when I was first doing my research for moving to Saipan, I remember reading a travel guide from a fellow who had a bad experience. I think it was in Micronesia somewhere, and one thing I learned is that, as bad as this may sound, it's actually a good thing for a lot of people. But the way you are treated here is going to depend, from my experience, on how you comport yourself. And there are people who, yes, there are stereotypes. So, there's the ugly, loud American stereotype, and, people may treat you accordingly. But I have found, as a Jamaican in China and in Asia, that, wherever I go, the red carpet is rolled out for me, whether it's Vietnam, Thailand, wherever I stay. It's happened at least 4 different times that wherever I stay in a hostel, the hostel owner ends up, bringing me to his home, and spending a few nights there with his family. So my experience here on this side of the world has been overwhelmingly positive, and some of that could be due to how I carry myself, the vibe that I exude. So I'll just say that your mileage may vary, and I'm not saying that my experiences will be your experiences, but it's good to know that experiences like mine do exist. So don't listen to people who, be aware that if someone says they had a bad experience, it could be as a result of the way they carry themselves, the way they interact with people. And you might think that someone who looks a certain way might get a certain treatment, but you might be in for a surprise, how it might be just the opposite of what you expect. Anyway, I don't want to ramble on too much, but that's sort of a recap of the first 4 dating in Asia videos that I released as shorts, and I'd love to hear your feedback. And the question is, how has your treatment been here in Asia if you are here? I know there are a lot of people who have some preconceived notions, some misconceptions about how they will be treated. So part of the reason I do these videos is to show people that what they expect, what other people may have told them, what they believe to be true, might actually be completely wrong. So I hope you can experience dating in Asia the way I have. And I'll say one other thing. I don't do a lot of dating. I actually don't do a lot. When I was in Beijing, when I was in my first China trip for 6 months, I went to Beijing, Kunming, Hainan, Sichuanbana, all over the place. I only had I had a couple dates and only one, intimate interaction. So I'm not one of those, travelers who's looking to rack up, a checklist. I still am only attracted to certain types of personalities, certain types of energies. So for me, it's about just the interaction and not, scoring, as it were. So anyway, hope you enjoy that. Let me know if you have any questions, suggestions, comments, critiques, requests, and I'll see you in the next video.